Hello world and welcome back to the Dragon Cops YouTube channel. This is Siddharth Kumar and you're here to learn something. Guys, today's video lecture I'm going to be discussing about a rather extrinsic field of interest, that is machine vision. So guys, let me assure you something. By the end of this video that you're watching now, you're going to be filled with the developer spirit. And by mentioning this word developer, I mean the sense that it contains outside our country, that is India. Like in India, if you speak this word developer, what would it mean? It would mean certain people have mentalities like if you're a developer, you're a software developer, a web developer, an app developer, or any software which is developed in .NET, PHP, or Java, right? But this word itself contains a different meaning to the people outside our country. Like a developer means a complete developer who could develop a system, not only the software part, a hardware part too, right? Kids over there in Japan, America, Russia, China, they're so ahead of us because they don't feel like creating a boundary between the software part and the hardware part. They don't like to brag around just for asking help to make a circuit for the software or a software for the circuit. They do it by self. They learn it by self, and that is why they are known as a complete developer. Whereas in India, we're still trapped in this software developer or the developer sense that it contains for the software logic only, right? So how would it make you feel if you make a software for your hardware needs and a hardware for your software needs by yourself? Well, I'm going to be talking about a field which enables you, which activates your inner sense of this developer thing, the meaning that it contains the outside our country, right? So I'm going to be talking about machine vision. Now, it's not like you're developing Terminator or TX9000 or something. Let me show you something. Well, you can do this thing also. Well, you can do this thing also. And you can do this thing also. So all these things you can do by yourself no matter if if you have a computer science background or you have electronics background. This field which I'm talking about has brought the computer science engineer and an electronics engineer together, have combined and made this field so vast that India too is now in the race of a pop of developers who develop softwares and hardwares both, right? So machine vision is that field. Now let me tell you something about a microcontroller. All these things, you can do these things with the help of a microcontroller. Now what is a microcontroller? A microcontroller is like a small computer that you can program to do specific tasks, right? To do your specific task, you need to have proficiency in a particular language, be it Java, be it C. If you're a computer science background, you might be knowing any of these languages. Now you need not to worry about any specific language. You can code in any language, right? So the most easy way to develop projects like these or to begin with is a platform known as Arduino. I'm sure you might have heard about this platform, but due to not awareness of much knowledge, you haven't taken any step yet. So let's take a step ahead. Now this thing over here is known as an IC, which is known as an integrated circuit, which contains a microprocessor, a processor inside, and all the functions that you need. Now, in the digital world, in today's life, everything works on the principle of 1 and 0, that is high and low. 1 and 0 in our sense, and high and low in the sense of machine, right? We program this thing, which is this IC. We program this thing. This is known as a microcontroller specifically. It is an IC which we program to do specific tasks. So we program it with any language in the form of 1 and 0. We supply 1 and 0 and define some inputs. We define some outputs, and then all it does is it manages where to send the output and how to handle the machine. We just program it how to do so, right? So be it a bulb, be it a television, or be it a fan, it works on the principle, everything is digital now. So everything works on the principle of 1 and 0 and high and low. If you want to lit up a bulb through programming, now what? By default, each electronic device nowadays needs 5 volt, which is high in digital world, and 1 in the computer science world. Needs 5 volts to get activated, right? Be it television, be it a bulb, or be it a fan. If you want to control it, well, it will be taking specific amount of electricity voltage and current, but to activate it, we need to supply 5 volts. That is to join the circuit, and that is done by the microcontroller. Well, how would it feel that you don't need to get up from your chair anymore? You just need to double tap your watch, and then your fan is switched on.
This is the real pearl. "317 motion-sensitive projection panels make this sphere the 8th wonder of the world.
Wow. It's incredible.
I'm over there. In here, anything is possible. The sphere is comprised of nearly 25,000 ultra-high-definition panels with embedded 8K micro cameras on both sides.
Both sides. Why is that? Whoa.
Oh, your television is switched on. Well, you might have seen this scene in this movie Skyscraper. Well, this scene blew my mind, and I dared to take a step into this world. I felt in love with this machine vision thing through this movie. Now, this is the platform that is known Arduino. Now, microcontrollers, let me tell you something, that microcontrollers are developed by several companies. But thanks to Atmel Corporation, that it provides its ICs to several companies, so that they could add something, and they could make it easy for us computer science engineers to get okay with the machine thing. So let me talk about Arduino. This is the microcontroller Arduino. What you need to do is, you just need a system that if you have a computer science background, you might be having a system, right? So you need to have a system, you need to have this microcontroller, and you need imagination and creativity. The things that you need to do, right? So you need to download the Arduino IDE. The IDE means Integrated Development Environment, on which you code the microcontroller. So this is the IDE. Now usually you program it in C language, but you can program it in Java also. It's very easy, right? You need to define only some amount of input. Like if you want to lit up this bulb, it is connected through a circuit over here. It is connected through a, let me show you something. So it is connected through a circuit over here, and through this wire, which is containing a AC supply, right? Now initially the circuit is broken because we have given low, that is 0 volt from through this wire over here. Now initially the circuit is broken. That would mean that the bulb is not lighting up, right? Now if we want to lit this bulb, what we need to do is we just need to program this microcontroller to give the 5 volt or 1 from a particular pin to this wire so that it would join the circuit, right? You might have studied about the working of a transistor. Now same is the case with this microcontroller over here, but instead we program it to do so. So it supplies 5 volt over here and joins the circuit and the bulb is lit up. So that's how it works. Now same is the case with television. Well, each device needs a ground and a VCC, that is voltage, right? So this part of the bulb is grounded and this part is connected with a wire to the AC supply. Now when you give 5 volts, this path is completed. Now current starts to flow in every part of the circuit and the light bulb glows. Same is the case with television and same is the case with the fan, your fan and the motors, right? Some fans work on the principle of motors and motors work on the principle of what? Mutual induction, right? So when you apply a positive and a negative, when you apply a positive side and a negative side to the end parts of the motor, it rotates in a particular direction, right? Now when you reverse the connections, now it is starting to rotate in the reverse direction. Now that's the case where we need 2 pins to be connected to a motor, right? There comes an IC to connect make it easy to run motors or to drive motors. It is known as motor driver IC. Well, it looks like that. This is the IC part over here. Now there are 4 pins. In case of 2 motor, there would be 4 pins, but in case of 1 motor you only need 2 pins, right? So there are from 2 pins we define output to this pin and this pin. Now if we want to drive this motor, we need to give 1 over here and 0 over here. Then it would rotate in this direction, clockwise direction. Now if we want to make drive it reversely, so what would we do? We will give 1 over here and 0 over here, so it will be rotating in an opposite direction. So that's how every machine thing works. Let me show you something. Now this robot over here, this robot is a humanoid robot basically, but it works on the principle of motors. Every part, the hand part, the legs part, every motion, you program it to do so. It is dancing because you programmed it. So how do you like this thing? Well, I am in love with this field. So if you do these things, if you're a geek or a nerd like me, well, you will fall in love with this thing too. So when you do all these things, you will be called a complete developer. Now that's the sense that the people outside our country contain for a developer thing, right? You might have seen Korean kids, maybe age 11 or 12. They develop robots by themselves, they drive motors themselves, they make drones, they make security drones, security cameras by themselves, and then they have robo-wars over there, and they do each technical stuff by themselves from the age of 11 or from the age of 12 or less, if they have interest, depending upon their interest, right? So they don't have this barrier of the software industry and the hardware industry. They go wherever they go, they get a job easily because they have a plus point, like you and like me. They have a plus point now. After doing all these things, they have a plus point. Now what is that? What is that is when you sit in an interview, apart if you're from a computer science background, apart from the software development part, you have a plus point that you can make a system for that company so that it on less cost they can transfer data, and by not getting up from their seats, they can remotely to any part of the department, they can transfer data through a local host server or a Wi-Fi or a Bluetooth and through their phones. And that won't cost them a single penny. They won't pay a single penny. So that would make your resume stand out there among many people that have come to give the interview for the same post, right? So, well, I'm in love with this field. So what about you? If you like this video and if you want me to make video tutorials on this platform, just don't forget to mention it in the comment box below. And don't forget to like and subscribe my channel for more upcoming videos. Now don't get up before seeing these technical stuff, because these videos that I'm gonna play after the video ends, these are the real life these are the real life projects that are made there in the industry, and they are based on the same logic that you apply over here. Actually, these are the mini prototypes. Now over there in industry you have heavy machines, they have the same logic. The difference is they have different microcontrollers, right? So they are powerful microcontrollers with powerful processing speed and can handle many machines at the same time. So I've told you about this thing over here. This is a microcontroller. Atmel Corporation that this makes the IC for the microcontrollers, and this microcontroller over here is known as Arduino as a whole. It comes as a board and it looks like this. Well, this is Arduino, and you just, for programming this board, you need a USB cable which is connected to your CPU when you program it, and after the downloading the IDE, when you program it, and then you dump the program in this microcontroller. This microcontroller now knows. Now you have given the brain to this microcontroller. So after giving the brain, now it knows when to handle the data or when to not. Now I'm giving you all you need to do is define some output pins, define some input pins through that Wi-Fi, and your devices, and switch on and off your devices, right? I'll make a separate video on that if you like. So if you want a separate video for that, you can mention it in the comment below. I'll make a video on that separately. Now this robot which I'm gonna play now, it has a little bit of tincture of AI and neural network. Well, you may find that it contains neural network, but it does not. It contains simple if-else condition. Let me show you. This robot over here is known as Buddy. It contains an ultrasonic sensor which is damn easy to handle, damn easy to program, right? It contains all this field. This machine vision thing contains nothing but logic. So what are the things that you're getting by doing this stuff? Your resume gets a plus point, plus you are developing your coding skills, and you are and if you get bored seeing the output again and again on the computer screen, well, in this field you see the output in real life. You imply the output in real life. You can use a Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi for wireless communication between the devices, or you can use wire with wire. You can communicate to devices with wire. You can make them switch on and off through a mobile app. Right? Seems interesting, right? So let me know if you like the video in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.